Hello, welcome to another talk on money, business, and investing. My name is Jose. I'm the chairman of our company here at Master Investor. Ensure to subscribe, turn on the notifications so that we know when we go live or upload a valuable talk on money, business, and investing that can literally change our finances and update our mindset in regards to money. Remember, it's all about operating with the wealthy context, not the poor context. Today, we have a great topic on how to create cash flow with stocks. We're going to cover 7 strategies for making passive income from stocks. Ensure to also go to our website and get our digital courses. We have 3 books, and each book comes with a digital course where it's going to help us in different asset classes, how to launch a business into the marketplace, how to put it all together, and how to start creating passive income. Rule number 1 in our community here at Master Investor that we work to build passive income, or also known as positive cash flow, and multiply money through sound investing. Whoever has a question, drop it in the comment section below, and we will come back and have a dialogue so that we can expand more on that topic. And whoever gets in any of our digital courses today will be grandfathered into any other asset that we add into that digital course, because it's always growing. We are adding more assets into each digital course to emphasize more on the topic of that specific ebook and course to help us understand more about wealth. That's the whole goal, to expand, to grow our freedom. When we operate on the right side of the cash flow circle and we focus on building our assets column like the ultra wealthy do, then our mindset is completely different than those who are trained and operate on the left side of the cash flow circle, which focuses on working for earned income, or also known as ordinary income, which is taxed at the highest bracket. And majority of people that are working hard for money, they have no money left by the end of the month to pay for investments, to acquire real assets that will produce passive income, because it requires financial education. That's what we're going to cover, everything that we need to know about building our assets column here at Master Investor, because the true foundation of wealth is found in the ability to read and improve financial statements, starting with a personal financial statement. And there are 6 basic words that compose a financial statement, which those 6 words are very important to understand and to control. Those 6 words are, we have the income column, expense column, assets column, liabilities, and cash flow. Majority of people do not have control over their cash flow. They simply go to work every single day and they pay their bills. And that's their formula. And they maybe save some money for their luxury vacations and whatnot. Liabilities that are not bringing any wealth to them. Now, there's nothing wrong with having liabilities, because as we know, the more wealth we grow, we will want to acquire more liabilities because we have the freedom to do so. And it's all about how we go about acquiring those liabilities that makes the difference between the poor and the wealthy. The poor tends to work for money, sell their time to buy what they want. The wealthy, on the other hand, we focus on acquiring an asset first before we acquire what we want, so that it can become free, so that the asset or the business is paying for that item or vacation or luxury pleasure that we want to experience in our lives. And we can have it as many times as we want, because now we have created an asset that can pay over and over again for the expense of that liability. And we can acquire more liabilities with that asset because it's our cash flow. So the key is to focus on building our cash flow. Summary of today's talk. With stocks, income can be made in ways other than via capital gains income. Do not count on the fantasies of a retirement nest egg. Positive cash flow, or also known as passive income, is always superior to savings, earned income, and capital gains income. When executed properly, stocks provide a versatile, low barrier route to building true wealth. At the end of today's article, we will cover our bonus question: how to spend a tax refund to create wealth, enhance our financial intelligence while other individuals are either saving or indulging. Rule number one of our community here at Master Investor, as I already mentioned it, is that we work to build passive income and multiply money through sound investing. The majority of people picture retirement as the day they are not longer required to report to do their work. Typically, it happens around the age of 65. Hopefully, by that point, they have accumulated sufficient funds to support them during the retirement years. However, a lot of individuals might never be able to retire. Some people cannot accumulate sufficient funds to pay for their needs for the rest of their lives. Even if they could, rising inflation may erode their savings, and their fake assets that they have, like 401ks, mutual funds, they might be empty by the time they want to pull the money out. In other words, when we give out control, we lose on a return on investment. It's all about having control over our businesses and our assets. That means that we have a voice, that we can control the assets and liabilities of that operation. We can make decisions that are critical, and we ultimately are the ones that are handling the operation by acquiring the right group of people that can help us run the business, because every investment is built to solve a problem in the world. What type of problems do we want to solve is a key question to always ask ourselves. It's something that I always bring into our conversations here at Master Investor, because the more generous we are, the wealthier we become. That is a universal law, and people that tend to say the wealthy are greedy, they are wrong, because if we look at the poor and the wealthy, we can see that the poor usually tend to be so greedy that they end up poor because they think only for themselves. When we are on the path to building true wealth, now we have to think for other people. We have to figure ways to solve other people's problems, how to bring a solution that can either solve a problem completely or help that problem become better. And we need to take a look at what type of niche we want to go into, because we want to ensure that the niche can grow all the time, that we can acquire other clients, more clients that never heard of our product or solution that we are bringing to the world. We want to make sure that we attach ourselves to the right niche when we build the business, because we want to have a scalability in our businesses. And we want to focus on building passive income, as we're going to talk about today, on how to do it via stocks. A lot of people, when we talk about stocks, they tend to think that all they can do is buy, hold, and pray for the market to grow up so that they can get capital gains income, without knowing that there is actually a better way to invest in the stock market by focusing on building a passive income with stocks. The secret to retirement is cash flow. Retiring with cash flow has the advantage of increasing with inflation. People that work for earned income, they either have to work harder in the future, get it higher salary because inflation keeps going up. So whatever they used to buy with a certain amount of money is going to cost a lot more in the future. And if the person is focused only on working, it's only working for earn income, then that means that the person has to sell their time for money, which is the most precious asset we'll have. We have to protect our time, and we have to make sure that we're building the assets column so that we can continue to build success and freedom in our lives, and we can do what we want to do to fulfill our purpose and feed our talents. We all have strengths and we have skills that we can monetize in today's world with digital products. We can create assets. We can build businesses very fast. We can create new brands. We can bring solutions to the marketplace very fast without having to spend a lot of capital initially, because the job number one of a wealthy business owner is to raise capital. As a business owner, we are trained to build a business to raise capital. Otherwise, the business will not succeed, will be out of business. Like majority of businesses tend to be out of business after a few years. A lot of them don't even make it past 3 years because they lack the systems and the integrities that makes a great business successful. Those integrities, we talk about them inside of our digital course and ebook, How to Build Cash Flow with the Internet, Turn Passive Income On, which is explained in one chapter via the cash flow triangle. And we must follow that cash flow triangle in order to build a successful business. And if we're going to acquire an existing business, then we need to match the integrities found on that cash flow triangle with the business or investments that we're going to buy, because it's going to help us understand whether that is a successful business or not. Every successful business is built with the integrities, and those integrities are mission, team, leadership, cash flow, communications, systems, legal, and product. In order to protect ourselves from inflation and down economies is by acquiring real assets, by controlling assets, by investing for passive income in different asset classes, not just in one asset class, not just in the stock market, or in this case, paper assets, right? Because the stocks are part of the paper assets asset class. There are 5 different asset classes that exist. We have real estate, business, crypto, paper assets, and commodities. We want to have assets on all the asset classes, and we want to control companies that control those assets. And those assets are bringing us positive cash flow, or also known as passive income. That's what we focus on here at Master Investor. That's rule number 1. Now we will have assets that will bring us capital gains income, because some assets will only do that. However, we will know exactly what type of income we are going to get from that investment before we embark on, because we know everything about it. We either are putting that investment together ourselves, or we are acquiring existing investment that has a track record that we can review the financial statements, and we can do our calculations, and we can figure out a path to increase the bottom line of that existing business. And we are going to know that because we are measuring our return on investment with facts, not opinions. A true inside investor and a business owner, we will always invest with facts. And investing is defined as having a plan with a lucrative exit strategy. Investing without a plan is not investing, it's gambling, it's trading, and it's praying for something to change, which is too risky Now, investing in business comes with risk, but the reality is that the investor behind the investment or business is what makes the investment or business risky. Risk is all about getting the knowledge that we need to feed that feeling of risk, because that's what it is. When a person doesn't know something, then risk rises, and the way to manage it is by acquiring financial education, by acquiring the right knowledge so that we can invest with confidence. We can acquire real assets that are producing passive income. There are too many fake assets out there, and also Ponzi schemes and different scams that we have covered also on our talks here at Master Investor, how to avoid Ponzi schemes. If you haven't heard that talk that we had a few days ago on Ponzi schemes, go back to our live streams. It's all in the archives on our YouTube and also on our newsletter. If you like to have these articles via email, in case someday you may want to read it and go back to use it for references, then you'll have it via email when you subscribe to our newsletter. Go to our website and you'll find the first link on our website for the newsletter. We are publishing new articles every week, and we are growing our community. So make sure that you join us here at Master Investor with all the financial education that we have available for our partners. So the goal is to focus on building passive income, acquire financial education all the time, and they acquire the 3 E's of a master investor. The 3 E's are: number 1, financial education; number 2, financial experience. We're applying what we're learning. So whatever we're learning today, for example, in this talk, we got to apply into our lives so that we can use the knowledge that we're learning from here and convert it into our knowledge. That's how we turn somebody else's knowledge into our knowledge, by applying it in our lives. And we have to get the results. And that comes in the form of excess of cash flow, and that's the 3rd E. So the first E is financial education, 2nd E is financial experience, and 3rd E is excess of cash flow or excess of passive income. Cash flow and passive income are the same thing. So we want to focus on building passive income, not just capital gains income, which requires a higher level of financial education. We have to go back to the basics and understand everything about money, because money today is a currency and money evolves, as we know. A lot of people don't know that on August 15, 1971, President Nixon separated the gold standard from the US dollar. From that point forward, money became monopoly money, fiat money, fake money, paper money, a full currency, and just an idea backed up by confidence. That's what money is today. Money is created with debt. It became debt after 1971, which is the best change in history for everyone, because it gives us the opportunity to build wealth fast. We don't have to take a long time to reach financial freedom, which that means that we have reached a level where we no longer have to work to pay for our bills. We have our lifestyle that we like to have, and that lifestyle is being paid from the assets that we are controlling. Whatever that number, that amount is different for everybody, because not everybody wants the same lifestyle. So we have to figure out what is that number, and we need to match it with our assets so that we can exceed that amount every single month, so that we can break free from the rat race. Once we are at that point, then we can begin to focus on building and compounding more assets into that asset column that we all have. Okay, we all have an assets column, we all have a liabilities column. Whether the person have money today or not, we all have to deal with money for the rest of our lives. So let's master the game of money, which is the most important game that we can master. There are 3 types of education in the world. We have academic education, professional education, and then we have financial education. Financial education by far is the most important education, but it's taken out of the school system. And that happened back in 1902, 1903, when John D. Rockefeller, we have heard of the Rockefeller family, one of the wealthiest families in the world. They hijacked the school board, for a lack of a better word, and they removed the financial education of all the schools. And they also created a mission for the school systems, for all the schools, which stated that they wanted to create two types of people: employees and soldiers. Employees that work for the corporations of the wealthy. So when a person comes out of the school system, they speak like an employee, they think like an employee, they act like an employee, they're looking for benefits, and they have the vocabulary of an employee. And that's one of the main difference between the wealthy and the poor, is the way we spend our time, the way we speak. We have a different lingo. We talk about money all the time, unlike the poor. They think it's taboo and rude to talk about money, because that they have been taught that, because they were taught to become an employee, not a business owner. The school systems do not create business owners and inside investors. Now, today we have school programs that develop business courses and other great topics that we can learn. There's nothing wrong with having a profession or learning or going to school to learn something, but we need to decide what is that we want to bring to the world, what is that we want to create, what do we want to innovate, how do we want to impact the world with what we're doing with our time, how do we want to fulfill our mission on this earth. It's a question that doesn't get answered in one night. We need to write our ideas down. We need to have a routine of writing our thoughts and putting a business on paper. Whatever idea we have to bring it into a piece of paper, whatever that is. It could be a computer that we have, and we're writing down every single idea that we have, and we're going to give a shape and form. We're going to create a business plan. It doesn't have to be super complex. However, we at least have some facts put together. Now it's becoming real. Too many people have great ideas, but they lack the basics of knowing how to bring that idea into fruition. That's what we're learning how to do here at Master Investor. Stick to the end of today's talk, and we will have the bonus question answer, and we will become a lot smarter when it comes to business and investing. So the secret to retirement is cash flow. We want to focus on building passive income, okay? And it takes effort, and it takes the time that we're investing right now to learn what we don't know, so that we can apply in our lives and we can be ahead of the curve when it comes to money. Additionally, it doesn't need a large nest egg. In contrast, it calls for assets that generate a consistent stream of revenue. Thus, one will acquire or invest in assets that generate sufficient revenue to pay for all monthly bills, rather than saving millions of dollars in the hopes that it will be enough. Rent is what most people think of when we discuss cash flow. We will need sufficient rental units to earn $5,000 a month if our monthly expenditures totaled $5,000. It's not easier and quicker than accumulating a sizable nest egg. Most people consider long-term retirement plans or other buy and hold strategies when thinking about investing in the stock market. They seldom consider the stock market to be a continuous source of income. But that is precisely what it can offer a knowledgeable investor. As we can see on our screen, we have the cash flow pattern of the poor class. They have a job. That is how they make their money, through earned income or ordinary income, which comes from a job that they have. No assets, and usually they have no credit to acquire liabilities. Now, middle class have credit. They have the same pattern, though they sell their time for money. So the middle class and the poor class are on the left side of the cash flow circle. Business owner and inside investor, we are on the right side of the cash flow circle. On the left side of the cash flow circle, the middle class and poor class operate with earned income. And they operate with the poor context. It doesn't matter whether the person is middle class or poor class. They still operate with the same mindset. They haven't figured out how to make money work hard for them, which that requires financial education and requires a winning business plan and the understanding of what is money and how do we make passive income successfully and legally, and how do we maintain that income, and how do we pay zero in taxes legally by following what the government wants us to do, understanding the tax code, not as a punishment, but as an incentive for wealthy entrepreneurs and inside investors that know what we are doing because we have the right team around us. We're learning from the right mentors like we're doing right now. We're investing in our financial education. That's how we grow our organizations as leaders. We have to grow ourselves every day. Not everybody's meant to be a leader. However, I believe everyone has something in them that can be beneficial, not for only for them, but for the entire world. So we have to figure out what are our passions and figure out how to bring a solution that caters towards our passions. Maybe that could be something that is feasible and workable to start doing today, because if a person is somewhat passionate about building a business, they will have a better chance than a person that is just doing it for the money. We're not doing it for the money. We're doing it for the freedom, specifically to have total freedom. We have to have some sort of big why behind what we're doing in order to be able to persevere during the tough times, because as we know, the economy goes up and down, and business and entrepreneurship comes with its ups and downs. It doesn't mean that we don't have enough resources. It means that we must be prepared for any type of economy or any type of event that may happen, because we're not dependent on a paycheck. We're dependent on our businesses that we control. So it's all up to us how those businesses develop themselves. How long do they last? Are they solving and exceeding their customers' expectations? Are we under promising and over delivering? Ultimately, that's what we want to do, and have great customer service for all of our businesses that we control, because today with the competition, we don't want to not be there for our clients. Otherwise, they will easily jump to the next company that is competing with us. We want to not only capture the customer one time, but keep that customer coming back to our stores and our businesses, because we under promise and over deliver. We always go the extra mile. We exceeding the customer's expectations, that when they leave our vicinity and they leave our businesses, they are thinking that that was the best experience that they ever had in a business transaction. And when we do that, we retain that customer, and then we get customers from word of mouth, because now we have won a free agent for our businesses. That person will tell their friends while they're having a dinner that they know us and that we're the best at it. And that's the best type of customer because that customer is already sold. So we want to think of ways of solving other people's problems. So as we can see, the cash flow pattern of the poor class goes from a job, they get the income, and then it flows to their income column. It goes down to the expenses column to pay for taxes, mortgage, car payment, credit cards, if they have any, school loans. And then it goes out to somebody else's asset column to pay for all those expenses. Because remember, our expenses are somebody else's assets, somebody else's income. So money flows out their pocket to someone else's asset column or a company's asset column. Everybody has a financial statement, and every business or investment has a financial statement. Becoming a knowledgeable investor, a knowledgeable stock investor understands how to manage cash flow with the stock market rather than simply investing for capital gains income. It is about becoming an inside investor. The closest we are to the inside, to the center of the deal, the more returns, the higher our return on investment will always be. As long as we are close to the deal, and that means that we are the ones that put in the deal together because we are raising capital. Now capital finds us because we have a good asset that is attractive to everybody else that has the money to invest. So we're raising capital not only from our clients because we have a prototype and we're launching the prototype. Now we're getting pre-sales and now we have the orders coming in. We are establishing the business with the A integrities. We are turning that business into a real brand because we are adding intrinsic value and we have business integrity, meaning that the business is protected with legalities. That's how we add intrinsic value into our business. We're protecting what we are doing that is unique so no one else can take it through legalities, having the patent in place, intellectual property, having the attorney do all the paperwork for us. Remember, it's all about the team that we have around us, having the right professionals, property, having the attorney do all the on us, having the right professionals and protecting that company so that it can become a real brand. And then the company, of course, has to make money. It has to be built to raise capital from the front end, from the clients on autopilot, because we have a system of systems running the entire operation, because a true business is composed of a system of systems doing the selling and telling for us on autopilot. Whenever we're not there, the products are being sold, hopefully worldwide, because we have websites. We're not just a physical business, we're virtual global business, because today technology allows us to do that. The people that are not turning into the internet to become wealthy and to expand their businesses are falling behind, because everybody is doing shopping online. Everybody likes to be online, to learn, to educate themselves, to just about anything. We are always online. We have the ability to have access, and because of that, that raises the chances of anyone being able to become financially free and build true wealth. For the first time ever in history, we are seeing this type of technology and the access of the information like never before. It used to be only queens and kings and the elite had the access of the information. Now we all have access. So now it's all about being very careful what type of information we're consuming, because not all information is great. So we need to be prepared for any type of economy, because we can make cash flow even in down economies. We can make way more than when the economy is going up. if we have the right financial education and the right foundation, and we have the right team, and we are doing what we're supposed to be doing as an inside investor and a business owner, to be able to capitalize when the economy is crashing and everybody's panicking because they lack financial education. And now we have financial education, so we don't panic because we understand that the economy has its booms and busts. The mutual fund industry has brainwashed us into thinking about investing. Do not freak out. Stay the course. Be patient. We are in this for the long run. And that's why we never jeopardize on our freedom. That means that we must do everything ethically and legally. We don't jeopardize our minds. We are constantly acquiring financial education so that we can develop our awareness when it comes to money and business and investing. And we don't jeopardize our time. We don't waste our time. We carefully select where we are going to invest our time because we don't sell our time. Our time has no price. That's our freedom. Now, if a person has to work and continue to work to maintain themselves and create a business plan and start a side hustle and a side business, then that is perfectly fine. The whole goal is so that we can start right now and figure out a way that we can come out of the rat race and create financial freedom for our future. So we must understand there are three types of ways that we can create money. We have earned income, we have capital gains income, and we have passive income. The best type of income is passive income, or also known as passive cash flow. It requires a higher level of financial education. It's taxed at the lowest bracket. It gives us the best benefits. Capital gains income comes also from investing. However, we have to pay taxes on capital gains income majority of the times. There are certain exceptions where we can defer taxes. It depends on which asset class we are talking about. For example, if we're talking about real estate, then that means we can use a 1031 exchange and we can defer taxes because we are acquiring a bigger asset than the real estate that we just sold. And because we are reinvesting those gains back into the market, then we can defer taxes using the right laws. Make sure that we get with our CPA, with our tax attorney, with our business attorney so that we can plan everything ahead of time. And we always invest with the plan because investing is defined as having a plan. Make sure we write that down in our hearts. Keep it close to us because I don't want anyone in our community to be investing without a plan. We need to really write the things down and execute everything on paper first so that we know everything about the business. The most important words in the business language are cash flow. The second most important words are due diligence. Once we understand how to look for that cash flow and how to do due diligence, then we are above average. Majority of people don't understand cash flow. They don't even control their own cash flow that they have today. They don't even know that they have a financial statement and they have never filled one out. For those who want to fill one out right now, go to our website and get our digital course, How to Build Cash Flow with the Internet. Inside of that digital course, one of the assets is a blank financial statement. All we have to do is download it into Excel and we can fill it in and we will update it as we go because things will change in our finances as we are accumulating more wealth. The console conjures up a picture of Benjamin Franklin, the wise old man supporting this age-old investment practice. For centuries, people who have been investing in this manner just like us. In contrast, how do stock market traders get portrayed in our society? They are often portrayed as avaricious, reckless gamblers who are willing to go to any length for a fast buck. In our opinion, both of these images are fake. The first one is intended to trick us into a false sense of security, while the second is meant to make us feel bad about the prospect of trading the market for ourselves. The manner we consider business and investing is the same way. While some individuals are employed, others start their own companies as entrepreneurs. The employee kind of investor invests in cookie cutter products like mutual funds and 401ks. We call them fake assets in our community here at Master Investor, because all those investment vehicles are doing is taking money out of the investor's pocket, out of the employee's pocket. And they were created for that purpose, because the government knew that the employees do not have time to understand business and investing. And they usually are afraid to invest or to talk about money. And so they created these fake vehicles to withdraw money out of their pocket. Now is, if they don't put money into their 401k, then the employer, the owner of the company, is not obligated to give them a pension. So the laws are always in favor to the right side of the cash flow circle for the business owner and the inside investor, because the rules of the wealthy are created by the wealthy to protect the wealthy. And who has access to those rules? Everybody does. Not everybody plays by those rules, but they are there for everybody to use. They were just removed from the school system, because the school system is created to build two types of people: employees and soldiers. They don't teach people how to become business owners or inside investors. They don't only teach people how to become a person who operates with the poor mindset. And they are looking for security. Usually when they come out of school, people look for security, benefits, and a good retirement plan. That's what they want. Now, we need great employees. If a person loves to do what they do, continue doing that, keep serving the company. And when we do anything, at any given point in our lifetime, we are supposed to do it 100%. Always go with the head of, I'm going to learn something out of this, and expand our skill sets. Grab whatever is positive and take it with us, and always build on that, because we might be able to use it later on. In fact, we will always end up using it one way or another. So every experience counts. We just have to make sure that we're making the right choices in our lives. And it's better to keep control over our money and invest into something that we have control, not something that we are giving our money away to somebody and they are going to do the investing for us. We don't want to lose control, because otherwise we don't learn anything. We call this fake assets because they do not put any money into the investor's pocket. Instead, it takes away from the uneducated investor or the employee every month. They are able to live life to the fullest because there is no thought involved. Later on, they frequently regret their actions and wish they had assumed leadership of the scenario in order to achieve higher results and more contentment. In contrast, the entrepreneur and inside investor perceives limitless potential in the investment options at hand. We might not know how to do everything perfectly right now, but we are confident we can figure it out. Why? Because we are at least as intelligent as the ordinary folks we have seen achieve it. So it's all about following our mentors and getting with the right group of people. Today, we all have access to the internet, so we can look for those mentors online. Why? Because they are at least as intelligent as the ordinary folks that we have seen achieve, and we have to follow their footsteps because that's how we avoid detours towards our success. That's how we can, if there's any shortcut, that will be the shortcut that we can all take legally, is to learn from other people's mistakes. And that comes from real mentors. So we have to invest in other people's products and knowledge that they have through their experience. And that knowledge is going to be so valuable because since we have so much information that is free online, we have to pick the right information. That's why organized information is priceless and is worth a lot. And it's going to be worth a lot more as we move forward in this fast-paced world that we live today, with any type of artificial intelligence that we want to add into our businesses, we can have today. Artificial intelligence will be added into anything that we see in life today, because artificial intelligence will improve every aspect of our lives. And we have to use those tools that are available today. Everything is being used by other companies today and other people that are having success, and they are leaving clues. So we have access to those testimonials and we have access to those mentors. So let's take advantage of everything that we have, because people that were living 100 years ago, 200 years ago, they wish they were in these times where everything is much easier to communicate across the entire world. We can sell online worldwide within minutes, seconds. People can buy our products around the world with one click. It is that powerful. The sales can come in at the speed of light. Can literally be 100 people looking at an offer and they can all buy at the same time. Having a physical store is different, because if there's a physical business, then what happens is that the person has to get 100 people in line and they can't buy at the same time. They have to wait for that first person to make the transaction, and then the second one comes, and so forth. So it takes longer to become wealthy the old way. In fact, it might not longer work because everything is changing. Look at the big businesses that are going bankrupt because they were unwilling to switch to the online world, to the new way of doing business. We're talking about Toys R Us. I believe JCPenney is going out of business. Which one's Blockbuster? They could have been Netflix, but they didn't want to change their mindset. So they lost out. They had the database. We all knew Blockbuster growing up. So when everything began to change, Blockbusters, they didn't want to bring it into the online world. And they end up losing grip over the entire database because everybody went to Netflix. So we need to understand how to spot new trends and how to capitalize them. It requires a structure and the right team and, of course, the right systems in place, because the true business is a system of systems doing the selling and telling for us. So 401ks, mutual funds, all of these are investment vehicles created for the financial uneducated, usually the employee. As a result, they concentrate on bettering their education and then applying this newfound knowledge to the actual world. We sometimes win and other times they lose. However, they are constantly learning from our mistakes and figuring out how to prevent repeating them. Confidence increases and profits increases as time goes on. The stock market entrepreneur develops our own money-making company in the same way that a business owner starts a new company and develops it over time. Because the stocks, we have to treat it for what it is. The stocks belong to the paper assets. class. That's an asset class of its own. So we need to study it. We need to understand how to build passive income, which is very different than building passive income from real estate or from a business. 7 arguments for using the stock market to generate income. 1, the first reason is that we may begin small. The fact that anybody may begin with a little amount of money and increase our investment as we become ready is perhaps the most appealing feature of stock market investment. Additionally, we can get started quickly. Becoming a real estate investor or starting a business are also excellent methods to get out of the rat race. However, a significant investment is often necessary to get going when we build the business. Not all the time, because we can start businesses without money. Now, it does not take money to make money. What it really takes is financial education. Once we have the knowledge, we can raise capital. We can start a business with $0, literally. And we can have money coming in from clients just by getting those pre-sales coming in with a prototype. So what it takes to create passive income in any level is financial education. To create true wealth takes financial education. It's not money that creates true wealth. What really creates true wealth is financial education. However, a significant investment, and of course with a winning business plan for every investment that we do. However, a significant investment is often necessary to get going. Furthermore, before they start repaying us in the form of a return on investment, we demand that we spend a significant amount of our time. And sometimes we'll have sleepless nights and we will have to stay alone in many days as we build our business empire. And that is okay because it comes with the game of building true wealth. It's not cut out for everybody because it requires time and dedication. We're not selling our time, we're protecting our time, we're investing our time to build passive income, which is a very big difference than investing time to earn income, because that person is selling time for money. We're protecting our time, we're not selling our time for money. If a person needs to do something to get ahead and to put food on their table and to get ahead and maybe buy some equipment for their business and so forth, then whatever legally we can do to acquire that, we should do it. And we should always have a plan to come out of the rat race. If a person is working at a job that they love, they still have the chance to build a plan on the side and figure out around what age they want to come out of that job, that profession, so that they can supplement that income with something that is even more than what they're making now. And the only way to do that is by having financial education and to be able to put a plan together and have the right assets under our control. With stocks, we can start with very little money and have very little overhead. As our business expands, we may then increase it in its size. Adaptable. That's number 2. Nevertheless, we can still begin investing in stocks even if we have a typical job and are learning to invest by practicing in our free time. Since we are not discussing day trading or other high-risk forms of stock investment that requires us to spend hours in front of our computer, consider, for instance, our method here of investing in stocks. It enables a person to get up early and spend some time before going to work or going about our business. Others like to complete it after they get home in the evening. It is simple to integrate it into our schedule because we don't have to deal with individuals in the same way as we would in a business or real estate transaction. Number 3, not necessary to have interpersonal skills. Due to a lack of the sales skills required for success, some individuals are anxious about other kinds of business and investments. As a stock market investor, we don't need that. Anyone who has an average level of intellect and a desire to learn may acquire the appropriate skills and techniques employed by successful investors in the stock market. Number 3 was not necessary to have interpersonal skills. Number 4, liquidity. The stock market's liquidity ensures that there are always buyers and sellers willing to take action. Like the best investors we read about in the news, all we need to know is how to arrange our investments so that they profit regardless of whether the market goes up, down, or sideways. 5, leverage. An investor must borrow money in order to have influence in the market or real estate. This is not a negative thing, but it may occasionally restrict our capacity to compete in those environments. The use of option contracts allows for significant leverage in the stock market. We may manage a lot of stock holdings with these kinds of option contracts for a fraction of the cost. Knowing how to employ options safely for consistent cash flow can be a significant benefit for the well-informed investor. Number 6, agility. A recession or fall in the real estate market can immediately cause a shortage of purchasers and a rapid depletion of our financial resources. But even if the market falls like it has in the past, or if it rises or even moves in a dual sideways manner, there's always opportunity with stocks. In the stock market, agility is defined as the capacity to make money regardless of the circumstances. 7, free practice. One of the best things about investing in the stock market is that we may learn how to do it without running the risk of making a bad transaction. Anyone can open a free account with almost any brokerage business and learn how to trade. The way it functions is exactly the same as if we had real money in our account, but it's usually fake money, which today real money is fake money because it's created with debt. It's paper, it's an idea backed up by confidence. However, we can create a free account with fake money that they have there so that we can learn how to navigate through their back office. And there are many of them. So choose the one that is the most user-friendly and begin to get some experience, because we have to acquire the 3 E's of a master investor. Number 1, we have financial education. Number 2, financial experience. Number 3, excess of cash flow. So the 7 strategies for using the stock market to generate income. Number 1, the first reason is that we may begin small. Number 2, adaptable. Number 3, not necessary to have interpersonal skills. Number 4, liquidity. Number 5, leverage. Number 6, agility. Number 7, free practice. These are the 7 reasons why we should use the stock market to generate income, to start investing in that asset class of paper assets. 3 types of income, as we can see. We have earned income, capital gains income, passive income. Those are the 3 types of income in the world. As we mentioned early on, earned income is taxed at the highest bracket. Capital, and it comes, earned income or ordinary income comes from having a job or a salary, working for somebody, exchanging time for money. That's where earned income comes from. Capital gains income comes from investing, and usually we have to pay taxes on those gains unless we follow a certain procedure in different asset classes to be able to defer those capital gains taxes. And then we have passive income, which is the best type of income because we can lower taxes all the way to 0 legally in many instances by having everything reported. It's all about showing the documents, about showing how much we're making and having the right tax strategy in place ahead of time so that we can allocate all of that money coming in the right places so that we can pay zero in taxes, because we are constantly investing and moving money from a cash flowing asset to a new cash flowing asset in different asset classes. And so the government becomes our partner. That tax code becomes our weapon, because now we can use it for our advantage, because inside of the tax code, we will find a lot of tax advantages for those playing on the right side of the cash flow circle with the wealthy context, being a business owner, an inside investor, building passive income, being actively investing. Building passive income doesn't mean that we are passive ourselves. It's the very opposite. In fact, we have to be active at investing in order to reach passive income. We need to understand, we need to have control, we need to be involved in the making of that asset and building that asset and the acquisition of that asset. The objective, ultimately, it is undeniable that happiness cannot be purchased with money, but people tend to get happier when they have more money, and we can feed other people, we can help even more, we can do a lot more things. So if a person has to choose between having money and not having money, we already know the answer, because everything is around money. Everything has a price when it comes to this world. The material things we need to eat, we need to have the capital to be able to do that. And so money, it's not like depends on happiness. It's all about how we use and who we are as an individual. Money magnifies who we are. So if a person is a happy person without money, that person will be happy with money. So we can have both. It's not like they excluded from each other. We can actually be able to be happy and have a lot of money because we are ethical, we have morals, and we are doing what we love, and we're helping the world become a better place by bringing solutions. So therefore we'll become happier. However, money might be the difference between genuinely enjoying all the wonderful things that life has to offer and continuing to work just to get by as we strive to provide ourselves with the kind of lifestyle we desire now, and the retirement we deserve after a lifetime of hard work. It's all about creating freedom now and retiring young and wealthy, because we have the tools, we have the ability to do that. We have the technology, and we can talk to people around the world. We can have new clients every single second. Master Investors' philosophies objective is straightforward: generate enough passive income to pay our bills from sound investing. We are financially independent after we accomplish that. We now know that we may also attain that aim via the stock market, even if some individuals use real estate and others use business to do so. Bonus question: how to wisely spend a tax refund? The following is a little known fact. Receiving a tax refund indicates that the person has made an interest-free loan to the government. Usually this person works at a job where they work for earned income or ordinary income, which is taxed at the highest bracket of the three types of income. Our financial prospects may be impacted by how we spend our money in tax refund. When people get a tax refund, that means that they work and they give their money via paycheck, they pay taxes, and they usually pay more than they were supposed to pay to the government. That's why they get that money back. However, the money has been used by the government during the entire year. And who showed up to work? The government or the person did? And that's why the rules of money are not fair for the employee and the self-employed, because they weren't created to benefit the employee and the self-employed. They were created to benefit the business owner and inside investor. So a person that receives a tax refund must spend that wisely if that person wants to create financial freedom at some point in their lifetime and have true wealth and be able to retire with more than what they're going to get just by working hard at a job. We want to take care of the money aspect early on in our lives. We want to be working on that daily because we don't want to get into our life and become a lot older and not having figured out the money aspect of our lives. We need to have money working hard for us. We need to make sure that we are not slave to money, that money is our slaves. We have to have the right systems, and we need to understand that wealth is created by accumulating assets, not by working hard at a job. We have to work smarter, not necessarily harder. We have to make more by doing less because we're using leverage, control companies in the right investment vehicles to create passive income, or also known as positive cash flow. Before using a tax refund to become wealthier or to increase wealth, be sure we understand the distinction between good debt and bad debt. There are two types of debt when it comes to money. A lot of people say we have to get out of debt and that's how we become wealthy, and that is not the way to become wealthy. That is what majority of people teach out there. And here at Master Investor, we teach the very opposite. We say get into as much debt as possible because money is created with debt after August 15, 1971. And that means that the government prints money daily. So if the government prints money daily, then why people are saving money? That makes no sense. If we can do the exact same thing that the government is doing to create wealth, we can print money legally. We can raise capital. We can get loans, and we can act just like the government does when it comes to money because money is created with debt. The government prints and creates billions of dollars daily. We are over $33 trillion in national debt today, and it's not going to stop. So inflation is going to continue to rise because as the government prints more money, because that's how the economy works today with debt. Money is debt, and debt is money. And because it works with debt, that means that inflation will continue to rise, and those who are working hard for money will have to work harder, will have to probably get another job or ask for a higher pay to be able to maintain their usual lifestyle, not even expand. And a lot of them will have to shrink. So we don't ever want to be in that side of the spectrum. We want to be where abundance is felt, where we have freedom, where we have passive income coming in, where we can go to sleep and not worry about any type of bills because everything is paid from our businesses and the assets that we control on our assets column. So the difference between good debt and bad debt: good debt makes us wealthy because it's the type of money that we put into an investment that is producing passive income, and we use that passive income to pay for the debt service and the interest and all the expenses, and whatever is left is our cash flow. So that is good debt because it's making us wealthy. It's not costing us any money. It's making us wealthy. And now bad debt is the type of debt that we use to buy something of luxury or an item that does not put money in our pocket. There's nothing wrong with having bad debt as long as we have good debt to pay for that bad debt. That means that we have to focus on building an asset with good debt first, and then we can go ahead and buy the bad debt that we want, because now we have created an asset with good debt that is now producing passive income to pay for the bad debt expense. And we can do that over and over again on repeat. It's not just one time. So it's not about living below our means or being debt free. to become wealthy is the very opposite. We have to get in as much debt as possible, because today money is created with debt, and we understand that the economy works with debt. That's the new monetary system. It's based on debt. Today, money is a full currency. So we want to be in as much good debt as possible. And of course, we want to be in bad debt as well, because we're going to be acquiring bad debt the wealthier we become. Because we're going to want to have things of luxury. We want to have a new item in our collection. The only difference is that we are getting that bad debt with good debt. Not like majority of people do. They get bad debt with their jobs, with their sweat and time that they spend at their jobs. We don't want to be that type of person. We want to be the type of person that operates with a wealthy context, which is more important than content. Having the wealthy context and having the right context is more important than the content itself, because the context is the framework of our minds. It's our core values, what we believe about money. We need to really go into our hearts of hearts when it comes to money and what we've been taught about money all of our lives, and we need to reprogram ourselves with the new rules of money. That's why we created the 10 new rules of money. Make sure you go get our ebooks on our website, get our digital courses, subscribe to the newsletter so that we can stay up to date with everything that is happening here inside of our community of Master Investor. Given that it's tax season, the conversation around the water cooler is predictable. People are either celebrating or lamenting about their tax return. According to IRS figures analyzed by Bankrate, about 2/3 of return, 64% filed in 2024, resulted in tax refunds. 64%. The average return, receiving a return can seem like a nice windfall, but in reality, it's not the best outcome. In essence, it tells us that the person is working hard for money. It's working for earned income. Receiving a reimbursement from the IRS indicates that a person gave them a free loan. That $3,138 or whatever they get back is the person's money to begin with. Money that the person overpaid to the government. It is money they got to use all year, the government did. And money the person didn't use during the year because it was not in their hands, as it was taken out via taxes in their paychecks from their jobs. However, tax refunds are often a larger sum of money than the typical individual has available to spend at any given moment of the year. Think about that. As a result, a great deal of thinking and discussion goes into determining how to use it. Majority of people tend to invest it in liabilities, and they end up at the same spot where they started, at zero, back into the rat race without any assets in the assets column. We need to plan about our money ahead of time, even before it hits our accounts. That's how a master investor does it. We always keep money moving fast from asset to asset. So before it even hits our account, before we even raise the capital, we already have a plan of where that money is going to go to work hard for us and for the partners that we're going to bring on. Another poll conducted by bankrate.com found that Americans intend to utilize their tax returns in the following ways. 6% of a splurge, such as a trip. 34% intends to invest and save. 29% of people will use the money for essentials like groceries and bills. 27% are reducing bad debt. This is how to utilize the tax refund in the master investor style this year. Fortunately, we can probably combine several of these provided the typical tax return. What to do with the tax refund. These are meant to enhance our financial knowledge and set anyone on the route to leave the rat race compete in races and become wealthier. Investing is defined as having a winning plan with a lucrative exit strategy. As we can see on our screen, we have the cash flow circle, where we can see on the left side, we have the E as an employee, we have the S as a self-employed. The E and the S are working for earned income. They're trading time for money, no work, they don't get paid. 90% of world's population, or about 98%, I should say, are found on the left side of the cash flow circle. And then we have on the right side of the cash flow circle, we see the business owner on systems that work for us even when we do not work. Systems work hard for us and we get paid. And then we have the inside investor, money works for us. Passive income equals money in systems that are working hard for us. And about 10%, less than that, 3% of the population are found on the right side of the cash flow circle. And we want everyone here at Master Investor, of course, to be part of the 3% on the right side of the cash flow circle, where 90% and more of the wealth is located, is where it's built, is where it's generated. So it's very hard to become wealthy on the left side of the cash flow circle. Only about 10% of each field will become rich in their profession. So, for example, an athlete that plays professional soccer or professional basketball, any type of game, will most likely not be able to become rich and let alone wealthy, right? Because wealth is way higher than just being simply rich. There are a lot of people that are rich, but they have no freedom. They have a job that pays them well, but they have to show up to go to work. Like an athlete. An athlete is still an employee. They're still working hard for their money. They still have to show up. However, they're doing what they love. But it doesn't mean that they have the freedom. A person that makes less money on the right side of the cash flow circle from our assets will be a lot more free than the person that makes a lot more money on the left side of the cash flow circle through a job, because freedom has no price. Purchase books on financial literacy. Unless we never read the book, $1 spent on a nice book is never $1 wasted. All wise investors reads a lot of books every month, all which are geared toward improving our financial literacy. We will read books on how money works, investing, and history, so we can comprehend the patterns occurring in the world now in relation to the past. The 10 New Rules of Money is one book we may want to invest in this tax season. It will teach us in this must-read book how to legitimately lower a tax bill and keep more cash in our control by actively investing in the right assets. We delve into the complicated tax rules to demonstrate how we can use the fact that the government sometimes wants us to pay less taxes or none to our advantage in order to become wealthy. Sign up for finance magazines. It is essential to comprehend the current global situation pertaining to money and business if you want to become wealthy. Although books are essential for laying the groundwork for the ideas we need to grasp about how money functions, the news cycle is where we can see those concepts in action and learn how to apply them to our advantage. Every morning we get up and read a variety of journals, periodicals, and newsletters to stay current on current events about money, business, and investing. Our partners and new members add to as well. We also advise all to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, Master Investor. Here are our newsletter, The Economist, Bloomberg Business Week, in any book or newsletter that focuses on the asset classes we are most interested in learning more about or are actively ready to invest in. However, remember that in order to be able to hedge from any type of inflation and from any down markets, then we must actively invest with a winning business plan among the 5 asset classes that exist today. The following are the 5 assets classes that exist today. We have real estate, business, crypto, paper assets, and commodities. There are 5 asset classes. The asset classes require ongoing financial education as money is always evolving and laws are changing too. Get advice from a personal or financial counselor. Do we have any aspirations or goals that we have not yet been able to pursue? Did we make a New Year's resolution that we forgot about? A coach is necessary for all to succeed, maintain, and grow. A coach, like in sports, is there to encourage us, highlight the areas where we are chasing ourselves and others, and provide us a winning strategy to implement. Everybody we know who is wealthy invests in financial and life coaches, including ourselves. A decent coach will keep us accountable for our goals, provide us with much needed open and honest feedback, and support us when we need it the most. Go to a training course, meeting like-minded people who share a passion for self-improvement and learning in person from professionals is like nothing else. A live workshop that emphasizes intensive in training in finance and investment is the only place where we can truly accomplish that. There are a lot of options for these kinds of classes. We should seek out leaders who are knowledgeable and who practice what they preach rather than just speak about it. Before enrolling, it is also important to make sure we have the necessary knowledge. Before making a major purchase like this, we may want to complement with inexpensive or free resources. Seminars are great because they give us a break from our everyday routine, and it's a little bit like stepping into another world, one where we can let our imagination run while and our mind wander. We acquire new talents, make new friends, and have more energy than we have in a while. When we are ready for them, they are a wise purchase. The secret to making them worthwhile is to use what we have learned in the relationships we have formed. There's nothing worse than paying for a workshop only to return to our previous lifestyle. We must use the information into our lives. We must apply what we learn from other people's knowledge and their mistakes, what they have learned throughout their experience, and implement that into our daily routine so that we can experience the breakthrough. Increase good debt to cover the bad debts. Many individuals claim they want to use their tax return to pay down debt, but they fail to distinguish between healthy and harmful debt. In conclusion, debt is considered bad if it causes us to lose money every month. For example, using a credit card to buy things like clothing or television sets is considered bad debt. But it's considered good debt if we use it to buy or build an investment, sound asset that brings positive cash flow, and the earnings from that investment exceed the amount we need to pay in credit card bills. It is paying us a positive cash flow after all expenses are paid. Always actively invest with a plan, even in down economies, using debt as much as possible. There is nothing wrong with getting into bad debt neither. But first, we must get into good debt to be able to pay for the bad debt that we want to have. It is simple. We want something of luxury, then we find an asset first that will be used to pay for the item or liability we want to get. That way it's free. At the end of the day, we can obtain literally everything for free, legally and ethically, by focusing first and building an asset with the money that we are receiving, whether that is via a loan or tax refund or any capital that we have. We must put a plan behind that and execute with precision, with facts, not opinions, and real assets that we control with our companies that are producing passive income, or also known as positive cash flow. And as we learned today, we can use the stock market as a way to build passive income, not just capital gains income, like majority of people teach out there. They buy, hold, and pray. That's their strategy. And that is too risky for a master investor. When people say that they will use their tax return to pay off debt, it is likely that they are referring to bad debt, which is a really positive thing to spot what is bad debt and then making a decision to either build an asset to take care of for the bad debt, to take care of that bad debt expense, or simply get rid of the bad debt or liability. By all means, get rid of any bad debt or liability that has to be gotten rid of. This does not mean to shrink or live below our means when building wealth. It simply means to expand and live above our means. Through wiser financial decisions as to how we spend, make, and invest our money, we must primarily focus on building the assets column. And when we want to obtain a luxury item or some sort of experience for fun, then we get an asset that will create the income for the liability or bad debt. The point is that we can have bad debt liabilities as long as we have good debt assets paying for all of our expenses, including bad debt and investments. We can have anything we want for free legally by investing in sound assets first. The passive income or positive cash flow and capital gains income is used to pay for all of our living expenses in anything that we want. Put the tax refund to work in sound assets that we control with our companies. Then we may then utilize the money we save in cash flow to invest in our financial education with some of the items discussed in this article. Buy our ebooks and e-courses available on our store today. Use the cash flow tetrahedron on our screen to guide our way of investing to be able to reach infinite return on investment, or also known as IROI, or money for nothing. That is when our businesses revenue buys other investments, resulting in accumulating real assets for free. And when we use debt, even better, because debt is tax-free, generally speaking, and passive income is also tax-free, generally speaking, because we are building business expenses that are catered to minimize taxes and to increase positive cash flow in sectors where the government wants us to invest, and we get benefits and we get tax advantages because we are doing exactly what the government wants us to do, which is to better the economy and to help the infrastructure of the country so that we can grow as a community. So whenever we do something great for the country, when we are impacting the community in a positive way by bringing a solution to them, then the government gives us incentives. It's that simple. So ultimately, as we can see on the screen, the cash flow tetrahedron is basically a way of investing. We focus on building a business that produces passive income, and that income is used to pay for our expenses, our living expenses. We get out of the rat race, we reach financial freedom. We use that revenue that is coming in from our assets to put down for different asset classes, to acquire different assets such as real estate, paper assets, and other assets. So first, we focus on building passive income from our businesses, and we use that capital to invest and to acquire other assets, ultimately making all of our assets and wealth free and tax-free wealth, because we are using other people's money. We're using debt legally to invest for passive income, and we're using the revenue of those businesses to fulfill any expense that we want to accumulate in our lives. And remember, we want to keep money moving fast from a cash flowing asset to a new cash flowing asset. That's how we build true wealth. And while we are at it, feel welcome to get a copy of the 3rd anniversary edition of How to Build Cash Flow with the Internet. It is fully current for the modern world with 49 chapters that will show anyone how to apply the financial principles we have learned through our talks and our experiences doing business. This is high quality financial education that is being sold worldwide as our community and Master Investor grows daily. Investing and business are both team sport. A Master Investor always thrives to have the best team of mentors, partners, and staff. Once we invest in our minds and people, then our organizations will grow exponential. Start investing in high quality financial education by reading our financial ebooks. Go get the 10-year rules of money, how to build cash flow with the internet, turn passive income on, how to invest in crypto to build wealth, understanding Bitcoin and blockchain, the rise of legitimate reserve digital currencies and assets. Remember, today, crypto is also the new money in town. It's a currency just like the US dollar. It has been accepted by Congress of the United States of America as a currency. That means that we can not only invest in crypto to build wealth, but now we can use crypto to pay each other and buy things that we want to have for our businesses and for our lives. So we can use crypto just like we use money, just like, because it is money, it is a currency. So we must understand everything that is happening with money, how it's evolved and how it has expanded, so we can capitalize on new trends. We have lucrative resources and tools. Follow us on Instagram, listen to our podcast, subscribe to our newsletter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Twitter, purchase a business digital course on our website, like our Facebook page. We also have Discord, and make sure to get inside of our inner circle, start building the assets column here with us at Master Investor. We covered today how to create cash flow with stocks. Master Investor's mission is to be the global authentic brand of money, business, and investing that elevates the financial well-being of humanity through high-quality financial education made simple. We look at opportunities to build passive income, win-win partnerships, and true wealth. Leave a comment below. If you have any questions, let us know. We're going to come back and have a dialogue with our community regarding today's topic. And go to our website, get our ebooks, start investing in financial education. Thank you for joining me on another great talk on money, business, and investing, bringing you the good and bad news of money, the business principles that work in all economies. When you have access to our digital courses, you'll be given a back office where you can access the digital course via any cell phone or smart device, and we can read our digital ebooks through any cell phone. We don't have to download the digital book. We can read it. I'm going to show you how it looks on screen. Make sure that you go to our website and get yourself your back office full with financial education. Look how extraordinary it looks. We can read it, we can take notes, we can communicate with other members, and we can begin to create real assets by having winning business plans with lucrative exit strategies that we can execute today. It's all about taking actionable steps and making progress and applying what we have learned today into our lives. Stay extraordinary and wealthy. I'll talk to you on the next talk. Bye for now.